Right. Hey, folks, my name's Paul Essery from My Sales Guru. So this is the first in a series of interviews with entrepreneurs about how they sell what they do. And I'm delighted to be here with Leah Spasova today, who's going to tell us a little bit about what she does and how she sells herself. So Leah, just to introduce yourself to people.
Okay, my name is Leah, and I'm a psychologist specializing in sexuality and relationships and working with adults under my brand LIFESEXPERTS.
Lovely. And tell us a bit about why you became an entrepreneur.
I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. Even more when I was growing up, I hated the idea because my dad's a workaholic, and I hated how his work took me basically away from him. I didn't have time with him. But I was fortunate to grow up in a sex positive family, and they never tried to protect me from learning about sexuality and relationships. And as a curious kid, I just learned tons about these things and naturally became the go-to person for all of my friends, including some adults in my life, for information about bodies, relationships, intimacy, etc. And when I was 14, I joined the youth club of an NGO, non-governmental organization in my hometown that works with victims of human trafficking and domestic abuse. I was fascinated by the work that they were doing, and I attended multiple of their trainings and learned a ton about healthy versus unhealthy relationships. And I just wanted to be like them. I wanted to help people. So I moved to the UK. I did my degree in psychology and therapy here, and I entered the workforce in mental health. And I was struck by how little prevention there was. The work that this NGO was doing was a lot more preventative, and I just didn't like how you just have to fix people here. And I was lost. I did what every millennial will do. I went off traveling for a year. And during this time, I realized what people sought me out most for. And that was this support and knowledge around sex and relationships. And I realized that this is what I'm good at, and I want to work in prevention. And because there wasn't a job like the one I wanted to do, like father, like daughter, I became an entrepreneur and also a workaholic. So I'm a great example of how learned behavior and socialization works. That's me in a nutshell, and why I started LIFESEXPERTS.
Okay. So tell us a bit about the sort of problems that people come to you with. I mean, what sort of problems do your clients have?
Oof. Well, most people that come to me struggle in their intimate and relationship lives for pure lack of knowledge and skills and self and others awareness. This coupled with tons of shame, guilt, inability to communicate their needs. And this manifests in many ways, but it leads to a general lack of satisfaction in their relationships, unhappiness, sexless lives, poor self-esteem, even depression. And sadly, very few realize that this sort of interpersonal struggles and unhappiness affect their work performance. This is why companies should be listening here. Because when a person is unhappy in their relationships, they cannot remove that. They turn up at work unhappy and are not productive, they're not creative, they're not driven. And that's why most of my clients come to me. But thankfully, I've got clients who come to me because they understand that exactly this lack of knowledge and skills and shame and guilt is what is going to damage their future in both personal and professional aspects and prospects. And they seek to build these skills and grow so they don't end up in the ditch.
Okay. So, and what is the insight that led you to think that you could develop a solutions to those problems? I mean, what is it that you bring to the table, if you see what I mean?
Mm. Well, A lot of people think my work is therapy, and it's different than that, because my work is around prevention, skills, and knowledge building. And the best way to describe it is with analogy. And I've given this multiple times, but I'll give it again. So imagine that you had no prevention, no know-how of how to have and build good, healthy relationships and intimacy with your partners. You're basically a person wandering through a dangerous and unfamiliar forest in the dark. You're just trying to rely on instincts and ideas that you have heard from media and books and movies, etc. And the problem is, you're in the dark, you're not safe, and you end up in a ditch, quite bruised up and broken. Okay, not a good place to be. This is life for most people. And this is the time, from that ditch of misery and brokenness, they scream for help. And therapists come to pull them out and take a huge and long process to heal the damages. And scars remain for life, you know? My work, on the other hand, is preventative, as I keep repeating. And that means let's not allow you to end up in that ditch, broken and emotionally and psychologically incapacitated. So you call me before you go into the wilderness. And in there, I'm your support guide. I equipped you with the torchlight, with the ropes, with the skills to venture with more confidence, make fewer mistakes. And hopefully, if you are a dedicated learner, you won't fall into those ditches because you know better. And in a way, prevention for the individual, it may not make sense. People are like, don't fix it if it's not broken. But this is a mentality that's really damaging for all of us, because it's so much more expensive and difficult to fix when it's broken. And just because it isn't broken doesn't mean that it's the most optimal, the most adequate, the best way of doing things. So we need to be reevaluating this relationship. And this is why my business exists, because there's this resistance in the UK for most people to work to improve things, not just to wait them to break down.
Okay, so tell us what that means in terms of practical solutions. So what sort of things does your business offer to individuals and to companies? I mean, what are the sort of what are your products, if you like?
Mm. For individuals, there's plenty opportunities to grow and learn. For instance, my educational webinars are quite popular. And I also run social meetups that are for open-minded people. No topic is off limits. And these are really popular. We've built a community around these. And the other thing that I offer is programs and courses, as well as one-to-one sessions. And the one-to-one sessions is where the best results come out of in terms of personal growth and life improvement. And on the other hand, for companies, I offer trainings, review and support with policies and procedures. Many companies don't even want to think about it, but many relationships, romantic relationships, start at work, because we spend a third of our lives at work. It's normal. And and now that people are working from home, a lot of them still, this is even, more important that companies pay attention, because there's so much domestic abuse, emotional, psychological. It's not just physical, there's financial abuse. Companies are just so unaware, and I help them understand how their workforce is impacted with trainings, reviews, and so forth. And the other thing that I am building right now is, as I said earlier, I'm a workaholic. And as with interpersonal relationships, we are not that skilled in having a good relationship with our work. And so many end up burnt out because they don't have good relationship and good boundaries with work. So this is quite damaging for individuals, for their families and companies too. And the course is preventative. Basically, let's spare ourselves the pain and damage of poor work boundaries.
Okay, lovely. So, and I always ask people this at the end of the interview. So tell me about the sell. So, I mean, there are lots of psychologists around. I mean, what's the thing that makes you special? I mean, I know what it is, but tell the viewers what it is.
It's really difficult to answer this kind of question from my own perspective, to be honest, because I don't know. But what I keep hearing from my clients is that they love how easy it is to talk to me and to open up, because these are really difficult topics anyway, right? And for them, feeling free from judgment, from restriction, and being able to say it as it is for them, the way they feel it, is hugely important. And this helps them make a lot of progress in our work. And the other thing that I keep hearing is how people love my being honest, genuine, no bullshit type of person. And again, I'm sorry I said bullshit, but I'm that kind of person. And I know that I'm not liked by everyone because of it. And not everybody likes that directness, but I'm okay with that. I attract the people who want a no BS approach. And that works for both sides, for me and for them. And it's a fresh of breath air, considering where we are in the UK, where politeness is above all, even being honest of where we are, how we feel, etc. So I think that's what makes me special for people. I don't know. That's what I get.
I know you, and I know that to be true. So it works for customers, and that's what matters, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So Leah, thank you for sharing. That's been really interesting, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. All right.
Thank you for having me, Paul.
Delightful. Bye bye.